All right, when you get ready to go hit the range, you're going to get out on the firing line, whether it's your training with your training partners or actually taking part in a class, let's think about the best way to set up our magazines for the maximum training value. Now, we know that we're going to be wanting to shoot multiple shot strings of fire, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but we also know that we're probably not going to want to be doing full magazine dumps if we're really trying to prepare ourselves for realistic defensive use of a long gun. So in the absence of specific directions from your instructor, how are you going to load your magazines? How are you going to set your magazines up? Well, let's just break it down to fundamentals. If you have one box, 100 rounds, two boxes of 50 rounds, whatever, you got 100 rounds to use at the range. If you take 3 magazines, load them fully, you have a couple rounds left over, you take a 4th magazine, put the spare ones in there, what you're going to end up with is the opportunity to practice 3 actual reloads and then 1 simulated reload. So for your 100 rounds, you get not that surprised by the actual reloads because you're going to be shooting so much to get through that 30 or more rounds when you're actually going to the bolt lock that you're going to start anticipating when that reload is coming. Also, because you have 30 rounds inside of that magazine, you're going to know for a fact that the first several commands, the first several multiple round strings of fire, there's no way you're going to hit bolt lock. So your brain is saying, just shoot, just shoot, just shoot. You're not worried about the bolt lock, and then when you get closer to the bolt lock, you're actually going to start anticipating it, thinking about it a lot more. That's not what we want for counter ambush training. It's not what we want for stimulus response training. So downloading your magazines, usually I'll say something like 10 to 15 rounds. If you're doing the kind of multiple shot strings I think you should be doing in terms of home defense, personal defense, law enforcement use, private security use, and probably even the military use of a firearm, especially in close quarters, you're probably going to want to be able to get multiple strings of fire during any one of your commands for any magazine that goes into the gun, but also not exactly be sure if that reload is coming in the 3rd string of fire, the 4th string of fire, the 5th, or maybe even the 6th string of fire. Putting 10 to 15 rounds in each mag is going to give you that opportunity. Also, if we go back to our simple math, if we put 15 rounds inside of the magazine, 10, 12, 15 rounds somewhere in there, and we have 100 rounds, now we get much closer to having 7 or 8 real reloads, maybe even 9, maybe as few as 5 again, but it gives us a much better opportunity to not know when that reload's coming, to not be able to anticipate the reload. If I put 10 to 15 rounds in here, I'm shooting 4 to 6 rounds every string of fire, I might hit my reload on the 2nd string of fire. Or I might be able to go 4 or 5, we don't know. And that helps us to be more open to the stimulus. The stimulus is what actually elicits the response. That's how it's going to be in the real world when we're focused on our threat, we're focused on our family, we're worried about getting hurt, whatever our other distractions are, those are the things that are going to be in our mind, not thinking, oh, I've done 4 or 5 strings of fire, here comes a reload. So the way you set up your magazines can be very important. So again, in the absence of direction from an instructor, I recommend 10 to 15 rounds per mag, have a few mags on your body. And one thing you want to make sure you're doing is cycling these mags through your primary reloading location. For me, if that reloading location is this back pocket, I might be carrying a dump pouch, I might be putting magazines in all kinds of different pockets, but after I reload from my back pocket, I want to make sure I take that magazine from my cargo pocket, from my dump pouch, from my bag, whatever it is, and put another one into my back pocket. If that's where I'm going to be reloading from, I want to get as much practice as possible reloading from there. If it's one magazine that's going to be on my duty belt or on my belt with a clip-on carrier, cool, do that. Again, battle belt, chest rig, carrier, whatever it is you're going to be reloading from, make sure you're getting as much practice as possible, always reloading from that place. Because you're downloading your mags, you might want to have more mags on your person than you normally would carry. So think about the way you're setting your magazines up. Make sure you don't game it too much. If you're doing counter ambush training, defensive training, you want to be caught off guard as much as possible, and those tips are going to help you to be able to do that.